Today we're going to be talking about the litigation hold widget. It's extremely broad topic. There's tons of functionality in the widget, and we will only just be doing an overview here. And I should mention, it's called the litigation hold widget because there's a very large litigation hold market in the United States, and this widget is perfect for that market. However, it has applications far beyond litigation hold. If you're a forensic practitioner or a forensics lab and you're like, hey, we don't care about litigation hold, you still very well may be interested in the functionality of this widget. And so I'd encourage you to explore it and play around with it. In future versions, I actually think we might ultimately morph the name into something more encompassing of all the different capabilities it has, but for now it is the litigation hold widget. So again, I said we're going to do an overview. We'll accomplish that in this video with a simple use case. We'll have follow-on videos, potentially around creating templates, email approval, website. There may be more, but these are the ones we're pretty sure we'll have here in the short term. So if you're interested in really utilizing this widget extensively, please consult those additional videos. So let's go into the product now and start to play around. Okay, we're in Quincy now. Let's go to the lit hold widget. It opens up. We really have no current lit holds. Let me start by explaining the different overall tabs that we have here. We have our current holds, which will allow you to explore the different attributes of the holds you have in place. You can look at them by hold or by custodian. We have the ability to create a new hold here. And then we have the ability to customize the environment and set up different groups, different general fields. So this tab right here, general, allows us to create fields that we will require or not, but will offer our users when they're creating litigation holds. This allows us to create approval groups, and this allows us to create custodian groups. All these will become a little bit more clear what they do when we get into actually creating a hold. So let's do that now. Let's hop into create a hold. We start out here with our general information, and we'll just call this demo 1 first hold. All right, now the update frequency, let's talk about that just for a second. A litigation hold or any sort of messaging service has some recurrence to it. There will be tasks that need to be done in this hold every so often. And you can have the machine check on it daily or check on it every week if you wanted, or whatever frequency you want. Or if you're saying, hey, no, I want it to check on it a lot quicker than that. I want it to check on it every hour. Don't use a negative here. That won't produce any good result. So this means that every hour the system in the back end is going to go check and to see whether there's anything new that needs to be done. If you do like this means every 1 day and 1 hour, meaning at 25 hours, it will go ahead and run that check. For right now, we're going to do an hour. I would recommend most of you stick with a day because a lit hold is not meant to be a real-time operation. Then we go to trigger. How are we going to start this hold? Is it going to start based on date? Is it going to start immediately? Or are we going to use a manual trigger? I almost always use manual trigger, but those options are available. How do we terminate this thing? Does it terminate on completion or does it terminate after a specific date? Lit holds have to be associated with a case. So let's just do the lit hold case. And when you select that, and if you load it, it will load a whole bunch of information associated with that case. And we'll see these when we come to these later tabs. Remember, in Customize, we had the ability to create specific fields. Let me go back to that and show that again. Here in General, we can create fields, field name Tim, field name Bob. The Tim is a text field, and Bob is a radio field with options Tim, Fair, or random characters. And we see those here. We see the Tim field, which is a text field, and we see the Bob field, which is a radio button, and the Bob field was required. So it's not going to let me save this lit hold unless I choose something for the Bob field, and we'll just go ahead and choose Tim. Okay, let's move on to approval and notifications. We can create, we can add people as approvers to our litigation hold, and we can add them as individuals. Here we have Tim at timlehealy@quincyforensics.com. Is approval required? Has he approved? No. We could add all sorts of custodians as individuals, and then if we click on them, they will be required, as they will be sent emails as part of this hold. If we leave them off, they will not be. We can also create groups, and we do that again in this customize section right here, where we can add new lines here, and we'll call this, I'm just going to make up a person here, demo@demo whatever.com, and we're going to add this person to group 1, and let's go ahead and add another, well, excuse me, before I do that, let's add another group. So right here we only have the option of ungrouped, which would put them in that top category we showed you just a second ago. Ungrouped would be here. And or we have the option of group 1. But let's create another group. Let's do group 2. And we're going to say all the people in this group must approve, as opposed to any or none. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now we have group 2 available. And you'll notice it removed our person. That was because I hadn't saved. Let's just go ahead and close this. And let's add that person back, demo@demo.com or whatever. Again, we're going to put this as group 1. Now we're going to add another person, and we're going to do just gobbledygook and gobbledygook at gobbledygook.com. And we're going to call this person group 2. And we're going to go ahead and save now. Now this will save these approvers, and it will make them available in my lit hold. So now when I come back here, you can see I can require group 2, which says only one is required to approve, or I can include group 2, which requires all of the people. Of course, I only have one, so it doesn't really matter. But we're going to go ahead and stick with group 1. But the point is, that's how you create a group, and those are your options. So now let's go into custodians. This is where sort of the meat of a lit hold would happen, if you will. And you can create custodian groups, and this is very helpful, frankly, for just making things easy. You may have the same 10 people that are always in a group, and you can go ahead and create them. Let me show you how you do that. Let's add a group, if you will. So first we want to update our custodians that are available. If we want to add more custodians to this, we can import them. We can add them manually, individually here, or as a mass import here. But so here are these different custodians, and let's create a group, and we'll call it demo also, and this is a simple demo, and then let's add 3 random custodians. Doesn't matter, of course. And we're going to add those custodians to this group right there. We see, oh, did we add 3 or 2? So, yeah, only 2. And then if we decide, oh, no, we didn't want to add that one, we can always just remove it, of course. And when we're happy with this group, we can go ahead and save the group. That'll save the group, and now this group will be available for us to utilize. But if we're like, oh, no, we don't just want to save it, we want to add it to this lit hold, we go ahead and click add. And this will add the custodian group to the lit hold. I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to go back and find, I think this one has some, see, only this email is active, so I'm trying to be, excuse me, only this email is active So I want to make sure I have this group in my example. So we're going to go ahead and add this one. And let's go ahead and remove this one because it doesn't have anything of value to us. All right, so now this hold group is included as part of our hold. And now let's go on to emails. Emails are, of course, the heart of any litigation hold. You can create templates for emails. You can save them to the case if you want to save the exact email. The only difference between a template and the exact email is the template just saying the specifics of the email. The saving it as an actual email saves the two groups. So let's go ahead and load a template. And you'll see, okay, here's our template, and it's got a website, it's got no attachments, it's just simple approval. And we could say, okay, we want this to go to, group 1. This is an approval email. Group 1, if you'll recall, let's go back here. This is group 1. So this would send an approval email to this group. And that approval email would just say the word approve and would just have the subject approval, and just that much, no more complex than that, frankly. I'm going to go ahead and kill this for now. I want to remove the website, and let's go ahead and actually, you know what, let's go build our own email just so you see the process from beginning to end. But more or less, it's just going to be a simple email, and then we're going to decide who we want to receive that email, and that's that. So we'll just do a video demo because obviously we've got a number of them named demo already, and we're going to call this this is for our video, our overview video. All right, and do we want to send it to any individuals? We can add specific individuals here. We can, of course, add custodians or approval groups. But if there's somebody that doesn't fit into either of those categories and we want to put it here, we can go ahead and do that. Let's make this an approval email. So we're going to go ahead and stick with our group 1 approval. Let's close this. And then how do we want to activate this? Is this going to activate on the creation of the lit hold? Is it going to activate on hold approval, meaning we've approved the hold? Or is it going to activate on a specific date? We'll just do on hold activation, that's fine. What type of email is it? This is very important. If you get this wrong, it can mess up how your hold behaves. Is this an approval email? Is this an information email? Is this an acknowledgement email? An approval email is specific because it only gets sent at one time in the lit hold. If your lit hold has already been approved and you come and create a new email and attach it to this group and call it an approval email, it's not going to get sent because the approval phase is already completed. So at that point, you need to either go with an information email or an acknowledgement email. But we are going to stick with approval here. Is this an escalation or not? Let me actually stop one thing here. There are lots of options here. What I'm presenting, I'm feeling like it might be a little overwhelming. There is going to be a video just on email creation. So if I have confused you here, I apologize. I'm going to keep going through it, but feel free to review to watch that email dedicated to, that video dedicated to email creation. I think there'll be a lot more detail there. The other key thing I'm going to need is a start date. It won't ever start before the start date's given. If you leave it default, it will do the current date. I'm just going to go give it yesterday so that it makes sure it sends right away. And then let's go ahead and save this. We're going to save it to the case. Oh, shoot, that was really stupid. I first need to create my email. It's called, this is our video demo. Please approve. Okay, now let's save it. All right, and we should see it. It's right here. And If we're happy with this, we're all good. I'm not going to talk about the inserting websites right now. They have their own video, but it's super cool what we can do there. Nonetheless, let's stay focused on just this email and keeping this, this video relatively simple. Now we've got our email set up, but to include it as part of the hold, I actually have to select it. I'm only going to include this email, so none of these will actually have any bearing. But so when I go ahead and save that, I've now got one email in this lit hold sent to this group, and that's basically all I have in this lit hold. So let's go to current holds. Here's the hold we just created. We clicked on it, we can see it's in the created state. There are 2 approvals. There's only 1 approval needed and nothing else. So let's go ahead and click created. And that should trigger our lit hold to get created. And you see the lit hold has jumped into the approval state and the email should have been sent. Let me log into my email and make sure that's the case. There we go. This is exactly what we were just talking about. This is the video demo email we put together. Let's look at it. Please approve. We can see we have a link here. You may be saying, why is there a link there, Tim? We didn't add a link because this is an approval email. For the lit hold to progress, the user has to click on this. This is his act of approving. So if he goes ahead and clicks on this, it says job approval received. Awesome, we're off and running, and the lit hold should now move state. So let's go back to Quincy and check that out. It still says approval. Why does it say approval? Why hasn't it moved to the next state of this of its progression, which would be active? Well, there's a reason for that. The reason for that is, remember we set it at our, we set our frequency at once per hour. So the system isn't going to go look again to make sure that this lit hold is where it should be and progress it to the next state for the next 55 minutes or however much time we've burned. So I will have to pause now and we'll have to advance an hour, and when we come back I will refresh it and we should have moved on to the next state. Okay, it's been at least an hour. Let's go ahead and refresh and see what we have now. As expected, it's moved to the active state. Okay, so we created a lit hold, we sent an email, we waited, we approved it, we waited, it moved to active, and we can look at the details of our hold here. We can see that the number of approvers was 2, only 1 was needed, 1 sent, the approval was received, and that's really all we created, so there's really not going to be much additional information. But had we sent a bunch of stuff, it'll all be here. Sort of information specific about the approvals, whether they approved or not, any custodians that were sent, none were sent, but again, all the information here. If you want to send an email reminder, you click here, email history, you click on the email and it'll tell you the specifics of it and, show you the email. And then finally, if you have any website questionnaires, they would be here. We didn't. So there's nothing here. You can see all that by custodian as well. Of course, we have no custodian, so it's not that exciting. But it can show you what holds they're on, whether, what active holds they're part of, all this kind of information. So anyway, that's an overview of the lit hold widget. I've already taken more time than I expected to, and honestly, there's so much more to cover. So hopefully you'll see this just as a brief overview to give you some sense of the capabilities of the tool, and we will cover more of the features in future videos. Thank you very much.